What's up, cyberspace? I am a little at a loss for words. I just got out of Blade Runner 2049. I'm kind of speechless. I wanted to get the camera on me so I could get my thoughts out there while they were still fresh. And wow. So I guess this will be a review. I don't want to go too much into the plot because to talk too much about it would definitely possibly spoil some of it, maybe ruin it. But Blade Runner 2049 is freaking amazing! Oh, man. Okay. Kind of away from people now. I can talk a little bit better here. Okay. Blade Runner 2049 is like awesome, 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 awesome! It's like, okay, I'm just going to say it. Initial reaction is, it's one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. Oh man, I was a little bit leery when I first heard about it. And the trailer come out and I was like, I'm intrigued. Okay, first off, one thing that really just kind of stuck with me in this movie is, and it's, I'll probably be thinking about it for a while, the look of the movie, the world that it builds, feels lived in. There's places that are clean and sterile, and they feel clean and sterile, and there's places that are dirty and muddy, and they feel dirty and muddy. This was, hands down, probably one of the most beautiful movies to watch. They built a world. Wow. And I'm one of those people, I watched the original Blade Runner. I had to watch it a few times to really get it. And I still don't entirely get it. But it grows on you. And every time you watch it, you probably realize more brilliance in it. Blade Runner 2049, the brilliance is right there in your face from the get-go. Some of the movie, yeah, it does have to do with questions that were there in the first Blade Runner. That does have a lot to do with the plot. Like I said, I really don't want to give a whole lot of it away. Because okay, first, the movie is a noir. It's like a detective story. There's mystery. You're guessing the whole entire movie, which is great. That doesn't happen that often anymore. There's not really a whole lot of there's action in it, but don't expect like grand sci-fi epic action pieces. The action in it is right there in your face. It's visceral. You can feel it almost. You can feel pain as you're watching it. There's suspense in it. I know a movie's suspenseful when I realize I'm holding my breath. And there was 2 or 3 times in this movie where I was like, breathe. You got less air in at some point. The story's brilliant. Okay, it's got a beginning, a middle, an end. It is a complete story. It does help if you watch the original Blade Runner to know some of the parts. Like I said, the original Blade Runner is really confusing. Watch all the versions of it. Yeah. I loved this movie. really update all the technology in it, but there's new technology in it, and it's stuff that is very foreseeable in the next 30 years, and that's what is awesome, because the new technology that introduced in this movie is very believable. Like, I could really see this stuff happening. There are some that might be a little far-fetched, but it's science fiction. So it gets like 10,000 bonus points for being good science fiction, and it gets 5,000 bonus points for being like a noir story, like the first one was, like that detective story, that hard-boiled detective story, and it gets a billion bonus points for the cinematography in this movie. It is like freaking eye candy, and eye candy in a good way. It sticks with you. It doesn't seem cheap. It seems like there are some special effects, and I'm like, wow, kind of how'd they pull that off? There were 2 or 3 small CGI effects in it that they might have seemed a little out of place. I watched it in 2D. I didn't watch it in 3D. It might look better in 3D. Yeah, wow. But the world that it's in, just, you're there. I hate to sound like you're there, man, but you really get a feel for the world. It is 100%. It draws you in, and that's a key part of storytelling, is to draw the audience in, make it believable, feel what the characters are feeling. And this movie did that. You really honestly feel their pain and that kind of stuff. I'll say this, and I've heard other people say it, some other reviewers that raved about it. Some people might come out of this thinking it's a little boring. I didn't think that. The movie took its time to tell the story that it wanted to tell, and I know I've heard other people say that, but it's true. The story takes its time. It builds. I had my doubts. I'll admit, I had my doubts. I'm always leery of bringing back, old franchises. I don't think this really is like the start to like this huge Blade Runner franchise, because it's in of itself its own story. We don't have to wait a year or 2 years to finish this story. This has an ending. It's a decisive ending, and it is a damn good ending, in my opinion. With all the hype that I've heard, I thought that I may have built it up too much, and I'm dead certain that I couldn't find any flaws in this movie the first go around watching it. This movie disappointed me in no way, not one iota. It actually exceeded my expectations. And when I'm like this pumped for a movie, like I really started getting pumped for this movie about the last 2 months. Actually, since I watched the first trailer, I was like, yeah, I gotta watch this. Not let down at all. Not one bit. Not one measly bit that this movie let me down. Alright then. So, I've already stated my love for this movie. I give it a 10 out of 10, an A+, 100 out of 100, an 11 out of 9, whatever. love science fiction, do yourself a favor. Go watch this movie. Wow, this movie deserves to be seen on the big screen. Don't wait for this movie to come out on Blu-ray or DVD or whatever. Go watch it in the theater. Alright, so go check this movie out. I hope you love it as much as I did, because I absolutely enjoyed it thoroughly. See you next time.